The time 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Tilani Piris. The new bridge across the Kalani River at Palyagoda is scheduled to be inaugurated tomorrow. A subsidy scheme for tea fertilizer will be introduced soon. Preliminary auctions for oil and gas explorations are to be held in March. Health authorities say imposing travel restrictions will depend on people's behavior. State Services Nurses United Trade Union says they will not join the proposed trade union action. And on foreign news, at least 45 people, including 12 children, have died after a bus crash in western Bulgaria. And on sports news, cricket, limited crowds allowed at the 2021 LPL. Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana says that a subsidy scheme for tea fertilizer will be introduced soon. He said that the minimum quantity of fertilizer was imported in 2013 when Sri Lanka recorded the highest tea harvest. The highest quantity of tea fertilizer was brought in 2020. However, the harvest is not sufficient when compared with that amount. Minister Patirana said attention has been paid on the problems faced by tea smallholders due to the price of tea. The government hopes to conduct preliminary auctions for oil and gas explorations in March. According to the Paris Convention 2015 by Sri Lanka and other countries, use of oil has to be stopped after 2050. Therefore, using local oil and gas deposits cannot be postponed. Minister Udaya Gammanpilla said several companies have already arrived in the country for exploration work. The Deputy Director General of Health Services Consultant, Dr. Hemantha, says the decision to impose or not to impose travel restrictions depends on the people's behavior. He requested the people to refrain from organizing functions either openly or in private. Dr. Herath said that people should act with responsibility during the forthcoming festive season to avoid a lockdown of the country. The 7 demands put forward by State Services Nurses United Trade Union during the discussion with the President have been met. The relevant circular has been issued. It will come into effect January. Chairman of the union, Venerable Muruthettuwe Anandathera, has expressed his appreciation to the President for responding positively to their demands. Therefore, he said their trade union will not join the trade union action proposed to be held tomorrow and the day after by State Nursing Officers Union. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Minister Rohit Gunawardena says all the 928 vehicles were used by the Presidential Secretariat during the time of good governance government. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has reduced the number to 386. Minister Ali Sabri said in Parliament today government made appointments to the Supreme Court and Appeals Court according to seniority. Ali Sabri said in Parliament today government made appointments to the Supreme Court and Appeals Court according to seniority. He said the government has not intervened to withdraw court cases. Meanwhile, MP Tissa Thanayaka said that a loss of 15.9 billion rupees has occurred due to the present government's sugar tax fraud. He said that money should be deducted from those importers. MP Sagara Karyavasam said good governance government filed charges against political opponents at Temple Trees. He said bribery commission was also used to attack opponents. The ambassador of Italy to Sri Lanka, Rita Manella, met Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Piris yesterday at the Foreign Ministry. The discussion focused on issues of mutual interest, including political relations, further consolidation of bilateral trade, investment and tourism ties, Sri Lanka-EU cooperation and the exchange of visits. The Italian ambassador also referred to the promotion of cultural cooperation between Sri Lanka and Italy in a range of spheres, including architecture, fashion, design, and Italian cuisine. The petition filed by the Nationalist MP Diana Gamage challenging the decision taken by the Samagi Jana Balawegya to expel her from the party has been fixed for hearing. The petition was called before a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court today. The respondents named in the petition were instructed to file any objections before the 13th of December. The residents of Kuringankani area have attacked the house of Trincomalee District MP M.S. Tawfiq of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress following the ferry accident which took place this morning. A tense situation ensued after a passenger ferry capsized at the Kurungankerni Lagoon in Kenya, killing 6 people, including 4 school children. The residence of the MP has been severely damaged in the attack. That ends local news for now.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidamahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Ministry of Health says 418 more COVID-19 patients were discharged from medical care today. This brings the total number of recoveries reported in the country to 527,528. Sri Lanka has recorded 558,120 of COVID-19 cases so far. More than 16,400 virus-infected patients are currently receiving treatment at hospitals. Meanwhile, the death toll from the coronavirus outbreak in the country stands at 14,158. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
The Colombo City Centre Mall is all set to celebrate Black Friday, where shoppers can enjoy the best deals and special events. All you have to do is shop to your heart's content at Colombo City Centre and also be rewarded for the Black Friday promotions. Black Friday at Colombo City Centre takes place on November 26th from 8 a.m. to midnight. That came to you on Watchlight.
Be aware before you follow any vocational course. When you select a training institute, check and verify its registration and course accreditation by Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission, TVEC, without wasting your valuable time and money. Visit and meet skills development officers or career guidance practitioners. Visit www.tvec.gov.lk for more information. Message from Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
Coming up, World News. The headlines first. At least 45 people, including 12 children, have died after a bus crashed in western Bulgaria. Australia declares La Nina weather event has begun. New homes and buildings in England will be required to have electric vehicle charge points from next year. Officials say at least 45 people, including 12 children, have died after a bus crashed and caught fire in western Bulgaria. The incident happened on a motorway southwest of the capital Sofia this morning. The bus was registered in North Macedonia and was mainly carrying tourists from the country who were returning from Turkey. 7 people escaped from the bus and were taken to hospital with burns. A Bulgarian Interior Ministry official said it was unclear if the bus had caught fire and then crashed or burst into flames after crashing. Australia has said a La Nina event has developed for a second consecutive year, meaning there is a greater risk locally of floods and cyclones. Last time, the weather phenomenon contributed to once-in-a-century rains battering parts of Australia. But La Nina has led to significant weather changes in different parts of the world. The World Meteorological Organization is yet to declare a La Nina but has warned one may re-emerge. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says new homes and buildings in England will be required to have electric vehicle charge points from next year. Johnson announced the new policy yesterday. It applies to supermarkets, workplaces and buildings that are undergoing large-scale renovations and have more than 10 parking spaces. The British government expects the measure will result in as many as 145,000 extra charge points being installed across England per year. Back to the world news headlines. At least 45 people, including 12 children, have died after a bus crashed in western Bulgaria. Australia declares La Nina weather event has begun. New homes and buildings in England will be required to have electric vehicle charge points from next year. That ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The new bridge across the Kalani River at Palyagoda is scheduled to be inaugurated tomorrow. The 6-lane bridge constructed through a concessionary loan from Japan International Cooperation Agency extends southwards from Colombo-Katunaik Expressway and divides towards Port Access Road ending at Ingurukade intersection and Baseline Road ending at Orugodavatta intersection. The bridge was constructed with advanced technology from Japan, culminating in several milestones in transport technology in Sri Lanka. That came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on with sports news. Cricket news first. Sports Minister Nama Rajapaksa announced today that the Ministry of Health has given approval for limited crowds to attend the 2021 Lanka Premier League with adherence to strict health guidelines. Permission was granted after taking into account the guidelines put in place by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. He said the approval includes permission for limited crowds at the ongoing Test series as well. ICC Women's Cricket World Cup qualifier match between Sri Lanka and Netherlands is underway at Harare. Netherlands women chose to field. Sri Lanka women scored 252 for 7 wickets at the end of 43 overs. The third day of the first test between Sri Lanka and West Indies in Galle was disrupted by rain today. At the close of play today, West Indies was 224 for 9 wickets. Basketball news coming up. Reigning NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks, recorded the largest halftime lead in their franchise's history as they routed the Orlando Magic 123-92. The Bucks led by 41 points at halfway, with 7 players finishing a dominant performance with double figures. Netball news. Finally, England will host Australia, New Zealand and South Africa in the Netball Cod series in January. The 4 sides will play 8 games between 15th to 19th January at the Copper Box Arena in London. Australia won the Netball Cod series when it was last held 2 years ago. That ends Sports News.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency through NSB U Trust for 6 months consecutively. Send more money and increase the chances of winning.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Board of Directors of John Keel's Holdings have resolved to raise funds through a private placement for a maximum cumulative amount of the Sri Lankan rupee equivalent of $80 million through Asian Development Bank. This is with the assurance of up to a maximum of 122,500,000 new ordinary shares of the company in 2 phases. Collectively, the proposed private placement, which will be a maximum post-issue dilution of 8.5 5%. That came to you in Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 co-sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners.
And we continue with economic news. The co-founder and chief executive of Z Messenger, Jayami Lokulena, said over 40% of Sri Lanka women workforce drop out after marriage or after having children, and steps should be taken to reduce this. She said that people who register a new business need guidance. She was addressing the Creating a Smart Village for Progressive Economy event hosted by the Sarvodaya Development Finance to open a dialogue with business leaders to explore the smart village concept to enable business growth and thereby create a shared economic ecosystem in the country. That was economic news.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, brings Nanasa app, a trilingual educational mobile app for online learning. With video-based lessons from grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with the Nanasa app. No subscription fees. Download via Google Play Store, App Store, Huawei Store or Windows. Dialogue, the future today.
Finally, the weather report. The Met Department says prevailing low-level atmospheric disturbance in the vicinity of the island can be intensified into a low-pressure area during the next 24 hours. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in northern, north-central, eastern, Uva and northwestern provinces and in the Matale district. Showers or thundershowers will occur in several places elsewhere during the night. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places. That was the weather report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, brings Nanasa app, a trilingual educational mobile app for online learning. With video-based lessons from grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with the Nanasa app. No subscription fees. Download via Google Play Store, App Store, Huawei Store or Windows. Dialogue, the future today.
And now to in this news broadcast, the main points once again. The new bridge across the Kalani River at Paliagoda is scheduled to be inaugurated tomorrow. A subsidy scheme for tea fertilizer will be introduced soon. Preliminary auctions for oil and gas explorations are to be held in March. Health authorities say imposing travel restrictions will depend on the people's behavior. State Services Nurses United Trade Union Action says they will not join the proposed trade union action. State Services Nurses United Trade Union says they will not join the proposed trade union action. Foreign news, at least 45 people, including 12 children, have died after a bus crashed in western Bulgaria. And on sports news, cricket, limited crowds allowed at the 2021 LPL.